Okay, guys, just when you thought 2020 couldn't get any crazier, here come the US elections. And instead of running smoothly, we've got this insanity. The day of the elections, we saw some very strange things go on. We saw the stopping of all the counting of votes. Normally, counting just continues until all the votes have been counted. For some reason, everything stopped and everyone sort of went home to rest, or we don't quite know what. We have reports that during the night time, bags of ballots were brought into various polling stations. As we can see here in Michigan, as counting closed on the Tuesday night, Trump had 2,200,902 votes, Joe Biden 1,992,356. And on the right here, this was when counting resumed the following day. Suddenly, Joe Biden's up to 2,130,695, an increase of some 138,000 votes or something like this. And none of the other candidates have even one more. Not a single one more for anyone else. What are the odds of that happening? Absolutely mad. Something similar happened in Wisconsin as well. We can see here the blue. It's almost like they counted. They looked at how many they required to get in the lead, and they said, "Okay, here you go. This is this however many thousand." And boom, a vertical line, blue line goes up to take the lead, and then continues. So all these strange things have been happening. We're now getting videos coming out of clear voting fraud. You can look at this lady here filling in the ballots herself. She has no reason to have a pen in her hand. What is she doing there? She's filling them in. There have been reports of people handed Sharpies, which are types of pen that aren't valid for these votes. The vote doesn't show up if you fill it in with a Sharpie. Only a ballpoint pen must be used. Otherwise, the scanning machines can't read the vote, and it's a dud vote. So there are reports of these Sharpies being handed out. Maybe these ballots that she's filling in were originally filled in with Sharpies and duds that they're filling in. Look, this is another lady here. What is she doing? She should be counting the votes. She has a pen in her hand and she seems to be filling them out herself. There's one, and here we go. Here's another one. Stamp it and fill it out. So many different types of irregularities going on. It's all coming out. Here's another lady here, filling in the little boxes here, making the votes herself. These are the counters. This is what we're dealing with. There are people who've come to observe the counting that have been locked out. Look at this guy. Here he is. Have a little look around. Check no one's watching. He's got several ballots in his hand. Opens them out. Picks up the pen. And there we go. Let's fill them in. More voter fraud, left, right, and centre. It's absolutely insane what's going on. They've been boarding up polling stations so that people can't see what's going on. Independent observers have been held away from observing the counting process. A very strange day, the 4th, the day after, when all the many states that were leaning towards the Republican side suddenly switched to blue. Very dodgy stuff going on. A lot of people became very nervous about the way this was going, and that the Democrats were going to steal the election using underhanded techniques and straight up voter fraud. But let me reassure you, that ain't going to happen. I'd like to put this clip on of Stephen Pachesnik. Tell you who Steve Pachesnik is. Let's have a look at Wikipedia. Steve Pachesnik, born December the 7th, 1943, is a Cuban-born American writer, publisher, psychiatrist, and former United States Department of State official. So Pachesnik's been quite outspoken about. He's a bit of a whistleblower in letting people know what's really going on behind the scenes. Spent many years working in the State Department. He was the Deputy Assistant Secretary of State under Kissinger. He served the presidential administrations of General Ford, Jimmy Carter, Ronald Reagan, George Bush in the capacity of Deputy Assistant Secretary. 1976, he was made Deputy Assistant Secretary of State for Management. So, you know, this is a serious guy, and I'd like to play this full clip. This was aired on InfoWars channel, The War Room. And yeah, listen to what he's got to say, because it changes everything.
Let me just say again what I said in 2016. There are honorable members of our intelligence, military, and civilian community in the government who understood exactly how corrupt Biden and the Democratic machinery is, was, and will be. This is really a sting operation. Contrary to what everybody else said, Trump knew this was happening. Eric knew this was happening and warned the public. I knew this was happening. However, I could not say anything about it. What happened was we watermarked every ballot with what's called the QFS blockchain encryption code. In other words, we know pretty well where every ballot is, where it went, and who has it. So this is not a stolen election. On the contrary, we reversed the entire game of war along the lines of Sun Tzu, the art of war. And Trump was brilliant and still is brilliant at it. The reason he hasn't been seen, and Alex correctly said, oh, I haven't seen him in several days. Well, in the art of the war, you pull back, allow your enemy to make all the mistakes that they are making, manipulate the situation, expose them, and then come in for the final killing. And that's what's happening now. None of this was unexpected. All of this was expected. All of this is part of the sting operation we're running. And let me tell you that 48 hours ago, not only did we put markers on those ballots, but I can say now, with the permission of people in the intelligence community and elsewhere, that we have sent out thousands and thousands of National Guards to 12 different states: Washington, Delaware, Texas, Arizona, Alabama, and everywhere. So now you have to consider and rethink what this is really about. The genius of Trump is that he is able to pull back at any point and manipulate the opponent without the opponent ever realizing. He has said repeatedly, hashtag steal the vote. That's exactly what he has said for months. Then he made a very clear implication. He said, I will use common sense or my intelligence, i.e. both literal and figurative intelligence. And those of us in the intelligence community, be it who they are, again, what I said in 2016, when we exposed Hillary Clinton, we now exposed, and it was Trump who initiated this, Biden family. Hunter Biden, Joe Biden, Jill Biden, Jim Biden, Frank, the whole family was played right into a game where they were convicted, and you're seeing what's happening now. What was not announced was that we watermarked all the ballots with what I said at QFS blockchain, which is a very hard encryption code to break. And the second thing is we sent, probably 20,000 or more National Guards 48 hours ago. None of it was reported, and I thank the press for not reporting it, and others. So what in fact is happening is you're seeing a sophisticated sting operation that was initiated by Trump. I'm just a lowly peasant in this game, and honestly, I was informed that I could say something about it today, only last night.
So there you have it, Steve Pachesnik. This has all been a setup. It should be no surprise. Trump's been talking about the mail-in ballots. He knew that there was going to be a fraud going on. They were going to try and steal the election because it's the only way they could have won it. Amazing that he references the QFS once again, which is the quantum financial system, but there have been many people talking about the QVS, which is the quantum voting system. Once again, an unhackable blockchain-based system of voting. All the real ballots had a watermark. This was unknown, it seems, to the Democrats. And so they've been led right into the slaughter. And they're going to be exposed for the lying, cheating, corrupt bunch that they are. So far from Trump losing, Trump has indeed won with a landslide. The Dems tried to steal the election from him and have failed miserably. They were set up, and there's going to be some arrests taking place the next few days. Absolutely spectacular turn of events. And we've got a month and a half or so left of this year. Let's see what else can happen to make this year even crazier than it's already been.